everybody back,
Mm-hmm.
Evan, Edison,
Mm-hmm.
when you come back, you're not going to have, it's not an embarrassment of riches, but you're going to have a lot of options, will you not?
What we'll truly have is true competition, and that's really what this is all about. It'll make us better. When you have to compete for your opportunities or maximize your opportunities, it makes the whole group better. And we've been preaching that since the day we got here. So when I say that to guys in the meeting room, they don't flinch at it. They actually welcome it, which is that tells me we're heading the right direction from a culture standpoint. So when they all come back, just competition. And I'm very transparent about it because Dave's very transparent about it. Every day you got to compete. So when they all come back, just more competition. And that's a good thing, like I said, for the room. It's the best thing for the team. And ultimately, that's what it's team first. So I think it's positive.
Dave often says, we're going to practice during the week and we'll make a decision
Mm-hmm.
Friday. But it seems you will really be in that position when all these guys are back that you can truly say that. You're going to let your guys practice all week and we'll make a decision about who's playing at the end.
To be honest with you, they'll make the decision for us. And that's what I tell them. I tell them this, and this is something that I say at the very beginning of training camp. I have never cut a player.
Mm-hmm.
Players cut themselves. And they look at you kind of strange. And what I mean by that is if you don't capitalize on your opportunities, you will cease to get opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So we really don't make a decision at the end of the week. They make the decision for us based on how they handle their opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's really what it is. And like I said, we're very transparent about it. We're very clear about it. If a guy ever has a question, we'll give them the straight scoop on it. Sometimes they might not like it, but they respect it. And I think at the end of the day, if you handle that man-to-man, face-to-face, and the guy's not getting the answer he wants, I think he knows deep down that there's maybe something he could have done a little bit different to change the outcome. And if that's the case, if a guy knows that and understands that, I think you're heading the right direction because they're going, okay, next time I'm going to do this differently. And then that way I come out ahead. And that's all we can ask for.
Bobby, do you think your room is more excited because they see that there are more snaps being given to these jumbo and heavy lines because there's a more chance to get some of the guys in games in some of these packages?
I would say yes and no. I think there's an excitement because I think they see it as, yes, that's an extra opportunity.
Right.
But I think any true competitor is going, man, I don't want to be the jumbo. I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy here. So yes and no. I think they appreciate and like the thing that we've told them of, hey, listen, if you got a jersey on game day, we're going to find a role for you. If you're not the starter, we're going to find a role for you. And I think they see us sticking to our word. You know what I mean? Because I think they're, in this league, and I coached in college for 15 years, college coaches will tell kids anything. I think they see that, okay, you said something, you're sticking to it. So you're being honest, you're being truthful, and you're being a man of your word. I think they respect that, and they will work hard for you, knowing like, hey, if I don't win the job, at least I'm gonna have a role. And then it kind of motivates them to keep working hard. So I think yes, but I think ultimately, the thing I like about my room, I think they all want to be the starter. And that's what you want. You don't want a guy just drifting in the back going, hey, I'm cool with being the jumbo. You don't want that, but I think they know if they got it, they earned it. You understand what I mean? So I think I really like my room. But like I said, I think I like it a lot because they're all embracing the competition. I was told as a young coach at Miami of Ohio by Terry Hepner, he said this, every day is an interview and no job's too small. And that told me as a young guy, everything I do every day, he's evaluating. And he's evaluating everything, not just how my guys play on game day or how I am in front of the room. It's, hey, if I see somebody on the floor, am I going to pick it up or am I going to wait for somebody else to pick it up? Things like that. So I try to stress that to my guys as well.
Matt Parrott, that was his first game last week. What have you seen? We spent so much time talking about Nick's crazy injury recovery. We glossed over the fact that Matt Parrott came back from a pretty serious one. What have you seen from him? And
Matt's been a guy that even though he's been injured, I've encouraged him to stay involved. He's been very involved in everything he's allowed to be involved in. He is prepared mentally as if he was going to play even when he wasn't cleared to play. Now that he's allowed to participate, play, practice, I see a guy who mentally knows a lot. He's a smart kid. I think he's a good kid. And I don't use the term kid derogatorily. I just explained to my guys the other day that
they're all younger.
I say it that I got a daughter that's their age. Yeah. So I think he's about the right things. I think he wants to compete. I think he's excited to have the opportunity to compete. You see a little bit of the rust, though. And he understands that, which is good because he doesn't get down on himself or frustrated. He just knows, I got to keep working. So I've liked what I've seen. I liked the fact that I've moved him around a little bit just to seek, okay, where's he fit? And he's embraced it all and not shied away from it. So I've been happy with what he's been doing, and just got to keep progressing.
When you say moved him around, you mean jumbo, left tackle, right tackle, or inside too?
I did that one day on the look team just to go, okay, based on what they were doing on the look team, I didn't want to screw up what they were trying to get a particular look at a spot. I didn't want to screw it up. I said, hey, go in there at left guard to do something, and he did it. Gotcha. So, I mean, my guys all know my philosophy is the more you can do, the longer they keep you around, and I think it also helps you learn the bigger picture too, the more you can move around. So,
Bobby, does it put your room in a good mood when you know you might be running the ball 30, 35 times a game like you guys did last week? And playing 8 guys at a time.
I think, like I said, I think yes and no. I think yes, they're, like I said, yeah, they want to play. Yeah, all linemen, want to run the ball. But I also think they just want to play. They don't care if we throw it, run it, whatever. They just want to win. And that's really what we've been preaching around here is, hey, whatever it takes to win. So I think they feel like, hey, if we run it 40 times to win it or throw it 40 times to win it, at the end of the day, all we want to do is win. So yes and no, I guess. I don't know if I really answered your question, but
do you think it has a different impact on a defense when they know it's coming and you're kind of still hitting in the mouth?
I would imagine it's a little demoralizing, but I think whether it's they know you're going to run it and you run it, or whether they know you're going to pass it and you pass it, I think at the end of the day, they're probably getting a little bit frustrated with the fact that you're imposing your will on them, whatever mode you're doing that in. So I don't know if it necessarily has that effect. You probably have to ask the defensive coach that one, because I don't want to not give them their due, but I also don't want to give them too much credit, So I think it's just a matter of the fact that another team's imposing their will on you. That's probably the most demoralizing thing.
All the other coaches like Dable, Kafka, they're always referencing during these running plays that you're playing a big role in, I don't know, figuring out what's working and getting to it. I'm just curious, like specifically play to play, what are you adding to the play call or the scheme or the structure of how a drive is going?
Be honest with you, at the end of the day, I'm doing my job by putting the players in the best position to succeed, whether it be running the ball or protecting the quarterback. And that's really, we have a couple core philosophies. And my job is to make sure that systematically what we're doing fits in those core philosophies. Have a hat for a hat in the running game and move the line of scrimmage. And in the pass protection, protect the quarterback inside out, setting the depth and width of the pocket. And everything we do from a schematic standpoint is rooted in those two things. And from game to game, week to week, play to play, make sure that we're doing things that fit that philosophy and put our players in a position to succeed. One thing that I will never do willingly is put players in a position where they can't succeed. I'm not trying to show anybody how smart I am. My job is just to make sure that what I'm asking our guys to do fits on our philosophy.
You're going to be getting some guys back from injury, and it's a good problem to have. But like, what's your mindset in terms of like continuity or like putting a guy back in who hasn't played?
Compete. Come to work to compete. That's it.
You don't have any reservations making changes. Knowing that you guys have sort of gelled to at least a degree with the group that was out there.
The 5 guys that go out there earn the opportunity to go out there in the spots that they're in. And I think that we've built the culture in our room, in our building, that, hey, if you're out there, you earned it, and they got to learn to work together. Because whether a guy wins a spot and goes out there, or something happens in the middle of the game and a guy has to go replace somebody, they got to learn to work together. So at the end of the day, whoever you're lined up next to, it shouldn't matter. He earned that spot, or he's out there because we trust him. You guys got to learn to work together. You guys got to learn to work as a group. At the end of the day, we just got to see everything through the same set of eyes anyway. I don't care who's out there. So having all these guys back means we'll have more competition, but whoever's out there, they earned it, because the more guys competing, the more you got to fight through. And that's what we really, at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want competition, and then we know we got the best 5 out there, or best 8, however it shakes out.
I got a kind of a random one for you, but it's something that I'm so curious about. Like, you guys will have McLeod come in, play like 1 snap in the base defense outside, and then sub him out. Like, what's the thought process there? What's the
again, Wink is really big about having packages and include as many guys as possible. Gives them more to deal with our opponent, more people to scout, gives our guys roles. And so usually those sets are one receiver sets, one receiver personnel. And so he goes in the game. So we basically have 3 safeties.
Okay.
Using him in that situation a little bit like a safety.
Gotcha. So that's why it's going to be one snap, because the offense usually will sub.
And then they sub, and then he comes back out.
Yeah. That makes sense. But I was so confused. You never see, like, you see nickel and dime and stuff, but you see the base, like the corners switch like that. Okay. Yeah. I gotcha. I mean, he's a pretty versatile guy then. Because you play him in the slot, right? Like,
extremely versatile and extremely conscientious. A great kid, a great get for us. And he's been so reliable and productive at the same time. You look at what he's doing on special teams. Like when his first game, I think he was special teams player of the week internally. And then, when you see that, we're like, we got to find a role for this guy on defense. Like he's flying around making plays on special teams. So Wink is, again, every week he's trying to see how many guys he can include in packages and what he can do that's unique. And he's a guy that's, his reps have been going up, and I just see it continuing to trend that way.
X's and O's wise, how much of an adjustment is it without Zay? Like, it seemed like Julian played in the center field, for lack of a better term, a lot more.
Yeah, losing, obviously not having him is big loss to the defense. He plays so many roles for us and can do so many things really well that, like, what we've done is trying to replace him. We've got multiple guys playing pieces of what he did. And trying to spread that responsibility around. Julian has done a phenomenal job adjusting and playing where we need him to play based on the situation, based on the call, based on time of the game, and even adjusting that in game when we need to. He's been phenomenal for us that way.
Speaking of versatility, you kind of alluded to it. How much do you think that the versatility you guys requested from Julian early in his career has not only paid off for him to be able to do it now, but also his understanding of, like, the totality of, like, the back end?
Yeah, like he's another guy who really is becoming a coach on the grass. Yeah. That he's played every position. Yeah. Corner, safety, nickel, dime, Mike backer. He's played everything for us. He understands the whole package and sees the whole package and can help other guys. And that's why, again, with X out, his responsibility in the room has gone up. And X is doing a phenomenal job in the room coaching as well. And those two do as much coaching as I do. They're like talking to the guys because, and I tell them all the time, like, and Mike Trier has done a phenomenal job with that safety group. And meets with them early, meets with them late, writes great notes for them and study tips and phenomenal job by him getting those guys prepared. But I tell those guys, like, right now, like, obviously I played in this league, but a lot of stuff I'm coaching is, in my mind, stuff that I can visualize and I can see and I theorize about how to play it, how to see it. Those guys are actually doing it. Like, he's actually had to go do that job. And so, like, for me, I love hearing those guys speak out about the stresses of that job that maybe I don't see. And helping the younger guys understand how to play it, how to see it. Like, those guys are constantly in our room doing that. And again, I want that. Like I push that. Like I want that. Maybe there would be some coaches who would be like, no, let me coach. But I'm like, no, let them coach. Let them help. They've had to do this. They did it last week. I did it like 30 years ago. The game was different.
Jerome, why do you think you guys are so good at red zone defense specifically? Like, I don't know how much you believe in the numbers, but, like, you're the number 2 red zone defense compared to, like, the number 18 or 19 total defense. So what changes when you get into that short field?
I think when you look at our defense situationally in a totality, third down, red zone, 2-minute, all those specialty areas, I think that's where we spend a lot of time. And Wink is phenomenal at coming up with plans and attacking what people do in those situations. And making sure we win those situations, because those situations are what wins and loses game. When you talk about third down, red zone, 2-minute, That's what wins and loses in this league. And in those areas, we spend a lot of time between Wink and Drew Wilkins studying that and preparing and getting the plan together, along with me and Mike and the rest of the staff. Do a great job of understanding what teams do, what we want to do to combat that, and the players, have done a great job accepting the challenge of going out there in those critical moments and playing big for us.
The way it's kind of worked out, this is the first team you're playing that's at least currently ranked in the top 10 in passing. That's the highest ranked team you face in passing so far was Seattle, and they had some success against you. How interested or how much do you relish the opportunity to kind of see where your group is at as you move along here? You'll face a bunch between them, the Eagles, probably Minnesota later in this year. Kind of like where your group stacks up now that you're playing some of these more quote-unquote passing teams.
Our philosophy is one play at a time mentality. We don't care who we play. We don't care where we play. We're going to take it one play at a time, literally. Like, if you look in our last game, we gave up the big run early in the game, and they got down there. And on the headsets, that's what you heard. Hey, one play at a time. Hey, let's go get a stop now. We were in red zone defense after that, and then we get the takeaway. We truly, and that the guys have accepted that. Wink has preached it, like one play at a time mentality. And it's what we talked about today, one play at a time mentality. We know every week, no matter who you play in this league, there are good teams. And they have really, really talented players. And so at any moment, a talented player can make a play and change a drive, change a game. And so when that happens, we just got to go to the next play. We can't panic. We can't scream and yell. And I've been on sidelines where that happens, screaming, yelling, and kind of the team goes with you when you do that, I think. And with Wink, he just remains calm, goes to the next play, makes the next call. The guys on the headset are saying, all right, let's get them stopped. And our defense has done a good job of that.
Why have your corners been so good tackling on the perimeter? I feel like Darnay had a great one the other day. Julian's been really sound there. Why have they been so effective there?
Yeah, I think it's, again, a mentality with our defense that we are going to tackle. We're going to run, we're going to tackle, we're going to hit, right? We're not going to back down. We're going to get 11 guys to the football. We want to play physical. We know people are going to, and you look at today's run game, and everybody's trying to scheme a way to make corners tackle because they know many corners don't want to tackle or not proficient tacklers. So, we work it a lot in individual and in team settings. We coach it, and every week we're, take the big runs from the team we're going to play, and we look how their big runs happen, and we coach in our room. Well, especially in the secondary, how to stop those big runs from happening. Like what are the key elements on a big run? We just did it today in our meeting. And I think over time, our guys are starting to really understand how big runs happen, because if you look, there's usually a formula for them. And we're trying to combat that all the time.
Last game, it's Cager and Hodgins, guys who relatively just got here, making big plays, and he's hitting them on the money.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to all of those guys. They do a great job of communicating throughout the week. Then Daniel will grab them after practice and say, let's hit, these couple of routes. They'll throw an extra one. We did that in between periods last week with both of those guys too. So I think it's just a testament to those guys of putting in an extra rep here and there. And that pays off, paid off in the game. On the in cut to Isaiah, there was time I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which day specifically, but while the defensive scout team was up, went over there. Let's get a rep of 3 passes, and one of them was an in cut. Paid off that's happened to be where he was in that spot in that game, and it worked out. That doesn't always happen, but it's good when it does. So, yeah.
When you guys are playing the way you played last week in terms of Daniel, almost like a no huddle situation, but Daniel listening to you guys in the headset at the line of scrimmage, why is that successful, and how much does Daniel's knowledge and being able to see what he's seeing help that in that situation? Because I would imagine there are some quarterbacks who might get caught up in that and not really be able to take it all in and visualize it at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. That's a big advantage for us when we can, put a lot on him in terms of getting everybody lined up with the clock, at the time it is, him communicating fast. That is a big benefit to us. It gives us a chance, really it gives him a chance to see the whole picture at the line of scrimmage for a few seconds rather than, being in the huddle. Now you come out, the clock's already down, and that's just another way to change tempos. Like you said, we could get to the line of scrimmage fast. We can huddle up. We can get to the line of scrimmage fast and call a play and snap it. There's all those different ways are there available to us, but it does help that having a guy that is that calm, composed guy that's ready for kind of whatever you throw at him in that.
Not expecting you to give away the secrets of what you're talking about in that situation, but is it a give and take? Or are you guys just giving, or are you listening to what he sees out there?
Yeah, no, for sure. He has the freedom, if he sees something, like going back to the Jacksonville game, he saw something, called a play, made a good play on it. Same thing whenever we're in those scenarios. If I tell him all the time, trust your instincts. I got a lot of trust in him that he's going to make the right decision, and he's been doing that playing at the line of scrimmage, so it's helped him.
Obviously, at this level, production is what matters most.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think, especially given the quarterback position, that Daniel seems to be pretty personally popular in the room? How important do you think that is for a quarterback, just because of the nature of the position, to have teammates like him?
Yeah, no, I think that's very important. You always want, the quarterback, right, wrong, or indifferent, is always the face of the franchise, if you will, right? So having that personality that guys kind of, gravitate to and can joke around and have fun with is what you want. And that's the thing I like about Daniel is you never find anybody has a bad word to say about him. They, from, all the people in the building, the video guys, the equipment guys, the people upstairs, the players, he's just got a really good way about him with everybody. And that's a really good thing to see for the building.
How impressive was that throw to Slayton on the touchdown, given what he was dealing with there?
Yeah, that was, we talk about it all the time. You're not always going to have the best platform to throw. That's just the nature of playing in this league. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get congested. And being able to make a throw like that is going to help the team win at some point. You're going to have to stand in there, know you're getting hit, and deliver one on the money. And he did a great job with that one.
But for him especially, how have you noticed him adapt to that part of the game at this level?
Right. I think with him and all of our guys, you admire and you appreciate how much they're focused on team stats, not individual stats. And that's really the culture that's being built around here. Is it's about what we can do as a team and how we can attack an opponent as a team. And it takes all 11 every play. Like any sack somebody gets, 10 guys did their job, because if they didn't, there'd be either be an escape outlet or somebody would be open. So you really appreciate all those guys doing their job so that those plays can be made either on the the front with the pressure and the back end with the coverage, whether it's a PBU or an interception. Everybody plays a part in that, and I think this whole unit, particularly the outside backers, Kayvon and all those guys, really understand that, and they understand if they do their job, great things are going to come to this defense.
When you have Dexter and Leo playing the way they play, especially in pass rush downs inside, does that put more of an emphasis on your edge guys to know, set the edge first and then rush, because those guys are going to be disrupting inside?
For sure. It's really important when you know those guys can win one-on-ones at a high level inside. You don't want to create an escape outlet for that quarterback. So really having two great edges to all of our, whether it's a pressure, whether it's a four-man rush, shoot even three-man rush that you've seen time to time, you understand that if you set that edge, it creates a lot of opportunities for guys inside, where some guys will take a risk inside. Well, sometimes that works out. Sometimes somebody else had a clean one-on-one win and you let that quarterback out. So you really want to be disciplined in your approach there. Keep that quarterback in the pocket to know that all four of us can win and get there, but understand we can't sacrifice the defense to do it. And they've done a great job of that.
We keep talking about this with each passing week, but how have you keep seeing Kayvon grow? I guess what's changed from week to week?
Yeah, he's really done a good job of preparing on film for the formations and the plays that an opponent's going to present each week, because that really tends to be different most weeks. So this team has these runs out of this formation, this team has these runs, and he really studies that, whether it's on film or when the coaches present, and it's been great to see. He's learning how to prepare like a pro each day and each week. And you look at his notebook, I mean, he's filling that thing up every meeting with keys on an opponent, things he knows he can get better at. He really works at it. This isn't, he's not just showing up and playing. He's every single day leading up to that game, he's putting in a great work week of preparation for that, and you appreciate that.
He's obviously a great athlete, but when you just watch him in person or on the field, he looks smaller than a lot of people in that role. Can he overcome that just by what, speed, strength, or is he not that as small as he looks? Or
yeah, I think he really has a great skill set for the position. He's got a lot of qualities that really meet that position well, and one of them is his edge setting ability. You saw it on the jet sweep. He's able to create knockback, lock out, shed, and make that play. And he's a well-rounded player in that there's not a situation where you don't feel great about him being on the field, which is why when you look at his play count, it's probably the highest in the room, and really high, especially for a rookie to come in and be able to be an every down player. Like, that's our focus as we grow. It's not, hey, this area needs to be your expertise, don't worry about this one. We want him and we want the whole room to really excel and grow at every single area. So some of that's the edge setting in the run game, some of it's his pass rush ability, some of it's coverage, some of it's the details of the execution of the package, which you see in the pressures, creating opportunities for other guys. And he's every week improving in all those areas, and we prioritize being a well-balanced player that can play 70-80% of the snaps and do it at a high level.
So quiet on the stat sheet, at least from the outside, isn't necessarily not having an impact for you guys in the game.
For sure. Like, I think, part of the challenge that Wink presents to an offense each week is there's guys that are going to grab attention, and he knows that, and Kayvon's one of those guys. And by putting him in positions that are not easy positions, but putting him in positions to go open up a gap for two blitzers to fit through, that puts maybe two guys on the running back. One of them's going to be free, like you've seen with some of these sacks throughout the weeks. Him being in those roles and grabbing that attention, or knowing that they're going to have to chip him, which takes a little bit off of our coverage, or keep 7 guys in protection. Those type of things, and along with how he's playing in the run game and everything else, they make a big impact for us. And yeah, they may not show up in the stat sheet, but those are reflected when you look at, we're second in the league in third down or red zone. Those are areas where he is making a big impact, and it's affecting offense's efficiency in a lot of ways.
Wink mentioned yesterday one of the challenges this season is just the ever-changing personnel. How have you seen him handle that? You've known him a little bit.
Yeah, Wink each week, and I've been with him for a long time. The thing that you really admire about how he attacks each week is he does a great job of assessing what we have available to us that week, whether it's through injuries or any other reason. And he'll understand, hey, if these 3 guys are out, we can fill it, not necessarily with that position, but we can have another position play that role. And it goes into our positionless defense, but he handles that with such poise because there's always a plan. There's a plan A, plan B. So if this guy goes down, this guy goes in his spot. It's a lot of work that he does, but those details have paid off for us in preparing guys for different spots and understanding we're not limited to, hey, this is just how we do things. If we have to do it a different way based on who's available, that's what he's going to do, and that's helped us a lot.
I'm sure you've been asked about Kayvon, so I'll probably try to ask it a little bit of a different way.
Sure.
We all see like the obvious things that he does, and then Wink mentioned a few things that he does too, like the thankless work or whatever. Like what is a less obvious thing that really impresses you about Kayvon?
Yeah, the one thing in Wink's defense, when we're in our base defense, the Sam linebacker controls where everybody aligns.
Right.
And that's not an easy job, and not a job that Wink's really given to a rookie over his time as a coordinator. So it's rare that a rookie would be in that Sam linebacker role because of the communication involved. He needs to recognize and see the formation, close the front, make adjustments to the front, and that's something that we put a lot on his plate, and that's an area that he's executed at an incredibly high level to be able to get our defense in the right situations, right spots.
Has he had that role from the get-go this year?
He has,
so,
yeah.
like, how could you forecast during the summer, like, that he had what it takes? Because you don't really know, right?
For sure, and yeah, like, we'll mix all the outside linebackers in both spots. We really like guys to be cross-trained, multiple, even, Jihad Ward or Ellerson, guys rushing inside, you like that flexibility as well. But for him in that role, it was clear when we put him out there for that first walkthrough. I mean, he's one of the loudest guys on our defense. He got incredible confidence, and he sees the formation really well. He sees the full picture. So that kind of processing ability along with that communication ability makes him an ideal Sam for us to get us all lined up.
It feels like McFadden's come on quite a bit for you guys.
Yeah, McFadden's been a steady climb for him since training camp. He's continued to get better and better, and he's been able to earn some more opportunities, and he's done a good job of taking advantage of those opportunities.
Where have you seen the biggest growth?
For him, it's in the run game, right? Using his hands. It's all the linebacker technique and things that we teach and that you need to be a good linebacker in the NFL. Now, it's as he comes out of college and is learning and starting to pick up those and starting to use those in a consistent manner.
What do you think Landon Collins would need to show to get snaps at inside linebacker?
I think Landon's done all the things that we've asked for him. It's week by week in terms of what we need in the game plan that week. And I think when his opportunity is going to be called, he's going to be ready.
What are you looking for at the spot that Mike is playing? You had Tay there, now you have Micah there. What is the number one responsibility of that?
It goes from week to week, but for us, to be able to play the linebacker position, right, you got to be able to read and diagnose. You got to be physical in the run game. You got to be able to use your hands, right, and then also you got to be effective in our underneath coverages, and also in man coverage whether it comes to backs, tight ends, all of those things. So that position, right, you're in space a lot too, also, and so you got to be able to maneuver, use good angles, and be able to be a versatile player. Thank you. No problem.
How does frequent blitzing in a defense impact the inside linebackers?
I think if you're going to be in this defense, I think everybody knows, right? You're going to have to be able to blitz, and so that's an important factor of that, right? And that's something we look for.
I guess that puts you in space too if you're not the one blitzing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, usually we're a little bit short in the underneath coverage somewhere, right? Or you're in man coverage on someone. However, it's designed, right? You got to be able to play in space.
They're all heavy blitzing. This would be a heavy one now.
Well, we attacked every game differently. We try to find ways to have an advantage on defense.
Did you, when Jalen first came here, did you envision him kind of grabbing hold of that middle linebacker spot the way that he has?
When he came here, we're looking for guys that can help us from week to week, man. And he really showed as soon as he got here that whenever his name was going to be called upon, he was going to be ready. That's something that he always said to me. Is like, hey, I'm ready. He's here day 2, and he was like, all right, I'm ready. I know it. You know what I mean? And so that's the kind of mentality he has, right? And I think that's why he's had a successful career. And I think he's been a really good addition for us on defense.
Darius Slayton has had an interesting trajectory, and I don't think I can recall a guy who, took a pay cut and then wasn't playing, and now is like not only just playing, but playing really well. So you see him every day.
Yep.
What has his demeanor been like through this process?
That's a great question. His demeanor has been the same. He's been the same guy every day, regardless of circumstance or the situation that he found himself in. He's kind of kept his head down, gone about his business, and gone to work, and then was ready, when his number was called and his team needed him, and then he's seen his opportunities expand and grow.
Isaiah Hodgins, obviously had some familiarity with the offense, but he came in and he made a couple impact plays right away. Obviously, there's opportunity in your room. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I think his familiarity with just learning the language, so that was an easy transition for him, and certainly Dave's, Bobby, Shea. Guys that were in Buffalo, they all had a history with him, so there was a certain level of trust there, and he's just come in and quickly assimilated into our culture, our locker room, our room, and has done a great job.
Do you look at your room? All coaches would like to say this, but a lot of places have their cemented starters. Do you look at your room as a place where a guy can come in and make an immediate
I
impact?
think that we're taking it day by day, week by week, and guys that are going out there and earning roles for themselves on a weekly basis, and they're seeing playing time based on what we think we need to do to win that game.
So, regarding Darius, as a coach who not only coaches guys, but you manage a room of human beings, right? So, how much were you looking to see how is this guy going to respond to this? You know what I mean? Obviously, you knew him a little bit throughout the summer, but
you're welcome.
Do you look in that moment I'm interested to see how this guy responds to this adversity.
I mean, certainly, we all got to ride, kind of the wave of a season. There's ups and downs, whether you're talking about personally or you're talking about from a team standpoint. And you got to be able to have the competitive stamina about you to show up. And I think that guys that do that, they have longer careers. They last longer.
Yeah.
They're not, riding the highs and the lows as much. They try to be the same guy every day. And I think to his credit, whether he's done that before or not, in his past, he certainly did that this year.
Yeah.
And just kept going to work and kept getting better. You keep getting a little bit better every day. All of a sudden you look up and go, you know what? Okay, I like the product that I see. And, here's where I can make improvements still in my game. And, he's been able to do that and still getting better.